run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the players $300 million. You better be sure that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. Jackson cried to the referee. No, he didn't. We are back for a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy, Petey, and our executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman. No scoops tonight. It is his birthday. Happy birthday to Tommy Scoops. Enjoy your dinner with your family. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. It's been a very long weekend for yours truly. And you too, Speedy. It's been absolutely long. No sleep. And I wasn't feeling well today, but I have to, the show must go on. That show must be on live. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here as I've always been. I don't walk away from live shows at all. With all the sports going on here in New York, including the New York Mets now knocking off the LA Dodgers. It's final as they tie the series 1-1 after getting killed last night the way they did. They come back. They were up 6-0, a little worrisome in the middle of the innings. I think it was 6th or 5th inning where the Mets kind of fell apart, but they kept it. They kept themselves up, and then they win the game today. So the Mets are tied 1-1. The Yankees start the ALCS with the Cleveland Indians. Yes, you heard it. The Cleveland Indians, game number 1, which is starting in just a few moments. And the New York Jets, ladies and gentlemen, are about to start in about a half an hour. So if you're a Jet fan, as I am, this is the worst night to do a live radio show. I know there's going to be very few people concentrating on us because the Jets and the Yankees are playing. But guess what? If you want to watch the games, you still can watch the games. You can listen to us because I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of yelling tonight by me. So it'll definitely be enjoyable if you're listening to a Yankee and Jets fan, and I'm going to have to watch this absolute terrible. It's a terrible night. It's just an absolute terrible night for me. I had nothing to say on that. I just have nothing to say. But we have a great show lined up for you at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking to former Brewers pitching prospect Braden Webb. He will be joining us. And now he's in the Mexican League, as we've had a lot of people on the show from the Mexican League. And at 8:30, we'll be talking to former Pirates, Rockies, and Cardinals catcher Michael McHenry. He's been on our show before. Very good personality. Very excited to have him on the show. I'm sure he has his own thoughts with the Yankees and the Indians as we're watching, Rodon on the mound. I have no idea why the Yankees decided to start Rodon in game number 1, especially what we've seen in the last series against Kansas City. It didn't look well. It didn't bode well for the New York Yankees. But during the Knicks preseason game versus the Timberwolves, Donte DiVincenzo was feuding with both Tom Thibodeau and Rick Brunson. After the game, Brunson came into the handshake line with the players and coaches and started yelling at DiVincenzo. Brunson allegedly got angry because he thought DiVincenzo was trash-talking the Knicks players, including Jalen Brunson. DiVincenzo said his comments were directed to Tom Thibodeau, who told him he was going to have a bench role with the Knicks after trading for Mikal Bridges. Many fans thought DiVincenzo was thanking Thibodeau for trading him and taking shots at him for not being able to finish at the hoop. DiVincenzo set the Knicks' single-season record of three-pointers last season with 283. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch the game until today. I actually was watching it early this morning, and Speedy was actually watching it in the other room. And I was like, when is this going to happen? And then I actually saw the back and forth banter with him and Tom Thibodeau. And you know what's so interesting about the New York Knicks? And, the stories behind Tom Thibodeau. He's had a lot of problems with ex-players. He had some problems with Karl Anthony Towns before he left Minnesota. There were stories coming out that he wasn't getting along with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. And maybe that's why he got fired. We also heard stories with the Celtics before he decided to walk away and take a job with the Chicago Bulls. I don't know if anybody remembers that. He had a problem with Doc Rivers, and there were stories coming out that he wasn't getting along with Doc Rivers, and he wasn't getting along with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. So obviously, Tom Thibodeau has his own thoughts with ex-players, and he's a very aggressive coach. He preaches defense. And Donte DiVincenzo was a very good defensive player for the New York Knicks and a very good shooter for the New York Knicks. And I think he made his money after last season playing for the New York Knicks because the Knicks gave Donte DiVincenzo an $11 million contract. He's still under another 2 years under his contract of 3 years from the contract that he signed with the Knicks. He was underpaid because right now, if Donte DiVincenzo had the season that he had last year with the Knicks, he probably is making between 20 and 25 million. Donte DiVincenzo is very sour about how he was treated at the end of his Knicks term. He was only there 1 year. He had a fantastic year. He played so very well in the playoffs, especially against Indiana. He was really the only person that showed up in that series because of all the injuries that they had. And he didn't like that the Knicks were going to push him to the side because of Mikal Bridges, that he was going to be pushed to the side because of all the acquisitions that they made. Payne, bringing him in, and then obviously Karl Anthony Towns after the trade. He was not happy that he was traded out of New York. He thought that he deserved another season with this team. And obviously some of his good friends, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges. And some people thought that the Knicks were trying to make this the Nova Knicks. And he absolutely was not shocked when he was traded because obviously he came out days before he was traded in the Karl Anthony Towns trade, stating that he wasn't very happy the way the team was treating him as a player that actually produced for the team last season and doing what he did offensively for them in the playoffs. He didn't like to be pushed to the side, and he felt that the Yankees were pushing him to the side for obviously Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns and all the different moves that they made in the offseason. Now, Donte DiVincenzo has obviously his own thoughts on how he should be treated as a professional basketball player. This is a business. Jalen Brunson would be the first person to tell you that. You think Jalen Brunson wanted Donte DiVincenzo traded? I don't think so. I don't think Josh Hart wanted Donte DiVincenzo traded. Both these guys were a part of Jalen Brunson's wedding party when he was married in the summer last year. He's very close with Donte DiVincenzo. Now, I don't know what his beef is with Rick Brunson. I have no idea. Maybe there's a lot more in depth behind it. I don't believe Jalen Brunson and Donte DiVincenzo has problems with each other on and off the court. They didn't look like it all off season last year. They look like they're very, very close. But whatever it is, it stirs up really the Tom Thibodeau thing because Tom Thibodeau obviously didn't look at Donte DiVincenzo as one of his favorites. And Donte knew that. And when Donte probably found out after this season that he wasn't one of his favorites, he had his own thoughts to it. And I'm sure he spoke to the brass in the offseason about the way the Knicks were going to use him after the Mikal Bridges trade. And Mikal Bridges is a better player than Donte DiVincenzo. I think everybody obviously would believe that. Now, The fact is, when you bring in a player of that magnitude, Mikal Bridges, and giving up a significant amount of draft picks, you gave up 5 first-round draft picks from Mikal Bridges. You're obviously going to use him more in the offense. You're going to use him more in the lineup. You're not going to, you're not going to push him to the side and you're going to be a bench player. You're not going to spend that kind of money, which you're going to probably extend Mikal Bridges if you're not going to start him every single game. And he's going to play at least 30 minutes, 35 minutes because of the money he's probably going to make. Nevertheless, Donte DiVincenzo has a gripe. He does. He's obviously a fan favorite. A lot of Knicks fans were cheering for him. They posted up a video of him for all the great things that he did last year, especially in the playoffs. And a lot of Knicks fans didn't like that he was a part of that Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns trade. But again, you have to give something to get. Look at what Karl Anthony Towns did in a preseason game. He had 16 and 16 in a preseason game. If you get 16 and 16 all season long from Karl Anthony Towns, you have a very good chance of winning a lot of games. You're speaking probably between 55 and 60 games. Now, the Knicks won, I think, 53 or 54 games last year. They're going to win at least 6 or 7 more games, and that's significant when it comes to basketball. That could definitely set you up as the 1 seed. And being the 1 seed, it opens up many possibilities to get you all the way to the NBA championship. And that's what the Knicks want to do. They want to win an NBA championship, which they haven't won in, 45, 48 years. The position the Knicks are in right now wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Leon Rose. Donte DiVincenzo should thank Leon Rose for giving him an opportunity to possibly start in Minnesota. He wasn't going to start in New York because there's too much talent. You're paying too much talent there. Jalen Brunson's going to make a lot of money. Mikal Bridges is going to get an extension. Karl Anthony Towns is making over $170, $180 million. OG Anunoby is making $240 million. You're not starting over those guys. And Josh Hart is the heart of the New York Knicks. So you're not starting over any of those personalities that are going to be on the court. And yes, you're going to be cut down with time on the court. So what the Knicks did for you is send you to Minnesota where you're going to have a chance to play. So you have a gripe? Because of that, it's 51 years. I'm sorry, Keith. I don't know exactly. I wasn't alive for it. But it was over 45, 48 years. If you say 51, it's 51 years. The fact is, the New York Knicks have a chance to win a championship this year. Vegas has them third as the third team to possibly win an NBA championship. The odds are very, very high for them. They beat Minnesota in a preseason game. Their odds, I think, are 4th or 5th right now. Anthony Edwards is a superstar. Now, they all played in a full game. That was a preseason game. They all practically played the whole preseason game. They all played very, very hard. Anthony Edwards played hard. Karl Anthony Towns played hard. Jalen Brunson played hard. They all played hard. I look at, right now, the position that the Knicks are, it's win or, to me, it's a bust. They have to go to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. They have to compete against the Celtics. They're better than Philadelphia. They're better than Milwaukee. They're better than Miami. They're better than all those teams in Eastern Conference. They're comparable to the Boston Celtics. As a matter of fact, I think the Knicks have more depth than the Boston Celtics. Every single player is practically a two-way player now. The Knicks are going to be the best two-way basketball team in the NBA, as long as they stay healthy. Donte DiVincenzo has to understand that the Knicks did him a favor. Julius Randle didn't want to be there, as we all know. Because the day before, they all went to a Julius Randle event And some people believe that the Knicks gave him an offer and he wouldn't take it. So the day after, they traded him for Karl-Anthony Towns. Donte DiVincenzo has to understand something. It's not about him. It's not even about the fans that loved him. It's about the team. And the team and the organization wants to win a title. And right now, he, in as far as Leon Rose is concerned and Tom Thibodeau, he wasn't the right fit moving forward with the roster that they have set up. That doesn't mean that Donte DiVincenzo wasn't a good Knick for the year that he was there. It doesn't mean that Donte DiVincenzo wasn't valued. He just wasn't valued enough for this team. And unfortunately, somebody has to be the one and the odd man out. And he was the odd man out. They had to make this trade. This was a big trade for the Knicks. They're not going to have Mitch Robinson back until February. They need size. They were very weak on the size part. Mikal Bridges right now, going at him and Sims are practically the big men on this team. They would have played small all season long against teams like Milwaukee, Miami, Minnesota, any of these teams that have size. The Knicks are going to have problems against those. Philadelphia, Cleveland. They needed Karl-Anthony Towns. So the trade had to happen. Now, a lot of people are questioning because it didn't work over there in Minnesota with Karl-Anthony Towns with Tom Thibodeau. But this is a different roster. This is a different team. I think this team has more depth than Minnesota did when he was over there in Minnesota. Yeah, maybe because he was the GM. Maybe he was doing both jobs and he wasn't concentrating on one.
Way more depth than Minnesota. Minnesota was like a young team at the time, like a team of the future, apparently.
Well, they had Jimmy Butler there. They had Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, they had top-end talent, not depth, though, like the Knicks do. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves bench players, one of them was an Olympic volleyball player just this summer and won, I think, a silver medal. The other one was a guy that, Shabazz Napier, I believe it was, who was a UConn sensation, and then he goes in the NBA and absolutely busts. Like, that was their bench depth at the time. They had a good core. They played a little bit with Anthony Edwards, and Edwards was drafted a little after, I think Thibodeau's last year with Minnesota. So, you didn't even get a chance with that kind of thing either. And you hope that kind of thing can mend the relationship with those two. But it's 8 years later. They're both more mature by now. Tom Thibodeau definitely evolved last year. We talk about the pace of play all the time. He evolved in that, getting these players more involved in the coaching decisions. I think he got more involved in that.
And Minnesota was very young, Keith. It doesn't matter. There's talent there. They didn't show up in a lot of these games. They didn't play team defense. And that's what Tom Thibodeau actually preaches. Right. And Tom Thibodeau doesn't really work with young players. But again, you have a bunch of superstars. You have a bunch of great players. You're going to find a way to produce. And they didn't. And is Karl-Anthony Towns going to play as well now with a roster that has a tremendous amount of talent where they have the depth? Now, again, he's not going to be that superstar player. He's not the number one. He might not even be the number two on this team. He could be the number three, possibly. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns, a lot of people will predict, is going to be the number two guy. But after watching yesterday and watching what he did against Minnesota, he's really going to be the number three guy. Mikal Bridges looks like he's going to be the number two. Now, it could change every single night with the talent that they have there. But nevertheless, it's not his team anymore. It was his team over there in Minnesota when Tom Thibodeau was there because he wasn't the young player. The young player was Anthony Edwards. He was still trying to develop. Right. He was 18, 19 years old. So again, you look at the position that the Knicks were in when they decided to move Randall and Donte DiVincenzo. They had to make a decision. Are they going to bring in a guy that's going to help them win and get over the hump, which they haven't been to an NBA championship since 99? Or are they going to sit with the team that they have and hope that this roster, even with Randall and DiVincenzo, when you look at the depth, there's a little bit more depth there. Is that enough when it comes to their size, even with Mitch Robinson coming back, where they're going to get over the hump against the Celtics? Because right now, the Celtics have a tremendous amount of size. They have two superstars on that team, maybe even three if you look at, obviously, the different point guards they have now. I mean, there's an opportunity now that the Knicks could be looked as the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. Going into this season, before the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, they weren't even I don't even think they were top 5.
No, they were like top 5, maybe in the East, barely. But even that was a question.
Now they're top 3 in all of the NBA. So this was a move the Knicks had to make.
And you bring up a good point with the Celtics, too. Like, I think a lot of NBA teams have to make those kinds of tough moves that get them to that final echelon. The Celtics were stuck for a while in the Eastern Conference Finals. They made one NBA Finals, and they had to trade a fan favorite in Marcus Smart, a guy that all Celtics fans have like stood by for about 10 years, including Jeff, a former Celtics fan, and now claims he's a Knicks fan. But nevertheless, those are the tough decisions you have to make. And I think DiVincenzo garnered on being a fan favorite with the Knicks as well. But unfortunately, those are the tough decisions you have to make as a championship upward organization. The Toronto Raptors is a good example of that too.
And by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, Keith. Yes, Anthony Edwards was there when Tibbs was there.
Yeah, I think his last year there before he got fired.
He was there.
He was there. Yeah.
So yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was there. And I remember when he was drafted and Thibodeau was still the coach there.
Keith, call back later. We have a guest literally in like 3 minutes, and Fish has to still get his point into, which I'm going to bring him in a few minutes. I just wanted to say, like, those are the power moves that these teams have to make to get to that echelon. The Raptors did it with trading DeRozan, a fan favorite, to get Kawhi Leonard. The Warriors did it giving up Harrison Barnes and all these other guys to get Kevin Durant. It happens for a while, and this is the move for the Knicks to try to get their chance. Fish.
This is very Yankee-esque right now. They had no men out, first and second. Aaron Judge strikes out, and now Wells hits into, he hits the other guys to second and third, and now there's 2 outs, and they're not going to get a run in. This is very Yankee-esque.
I don't know, man. Big G is up. Big G's been having a hot postseason.
Yeah, I'm still worried about this team. They have to get up early against this team because Cleveland likes to play with the lead, and they have the pitching to play with the lead. So, anyways, but go ahead. What are your thoughts to the whole Donte DiVincenzo? I know you watched it and you wanted to get into the story. So, Donte obviously went a little crazy on Tom, went a little crazy, obviously, with Brunson's father. What were your thoughts to it?
So, afterwards, they all say they didn't say these things. And Donte gets on social media. He said, I wasn't yelling at Tibbs. It was something about what something had just said. It had nothing to do with it. Everyone's blowing things out of proportion. But he did not say anything about the interference of Rick Brunson in the post game. Not Jalen. His father, Rick, former Knick as well. And they just had a shouting match. Like as they were coming, it was like they almost had a fight in between, like just the handshake aisle. Like Julius Randle's in there in street clothes, laughing it up with old guys, and Dante's pissed, man. I would be pissed too. Well, look, Minnesota's a good team. They went very far last year as well, as we know, but it's not the same as that group that they had, that Nova Knicks group where he had all those minutes last year and he got to show everyone what he could do.
Sorry, he got under
it. It was a beautiful thing.
He got under it.
Not as beautiful. He's really on it right now. He just missed that one.
He got under it. If he just waited just 1 centimeter of a second, that would have been gone. But this is very Yankee-esque. This is the problem with the Yankees. And Rodon usually falls apart in the 3rd or 4th inning. So if the Yankees can't get an early lead and Rodon gets into this problem where he can't get anybody out in the 3rd or 4th inning, they can't play comeback like they did against Kansas City because Cleveland has the good relief pitching. Now, I'm not saying Kansas City doesn't have great relief pitching. They do. But I think Cleveland has the best bullpen in baseball. Even though they have not played like that so far in the playoffs, they're still very, very good in that bullpen. So
it's one of the best bullpens like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Top 10.
I'm sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. I'm feeling the same thing about this bullpen of Cleveland's. I kind of want to see it earlier than later. I'm kind of interested in them taking a lot of pitches and making them overuse that bullpen so late in the series they fall apart. I think it's going to be a long drawn out. We'll talk about that later tonight.
It also bothers me that the Yankees are playing tonight and the Jets are playing in just a few moments. So I got to go back and forth. And Speedy, you're going to give me the control because I'm going to control it. Okay, because it just makes me sick. And could you imagine that both teams lose tonight? That would make me really, really sick. You want to talk about somebody that's going to get so angry that you're going to see this computer probably get thrown against the wall or my mic being spit out of my mouth because I'm going to bite it off. I am absolutely sick to my stomach that I have to do a live show and watch both my teams obviously the Jets with Bambi gone with a new interim coach, and then the Yankees playing in the ALCS. They haven't been in a World Series for how long? I mean, I am not excited about tonight. And hopefully they both win, but not likely with my luck.
Who will
Not
get mad at first, Aaron Boone or Jeff Ulbrich? We'll find out.
Both. I expect both of them to make at least one or two mistakes.
I'm sure they will, but it's not as bad as, like having your team go up against the worst rated pass defense in the league last night, and then absolutely put up a bagel in passing game the entire game, have one rushing touchdown, score 7 points against the worst passing defense in the league going into the game. I know they got their D tackles back, but come on, guys, that was terrible by the Giants last night.
The Jets did that last year against the Chargers.
It was, of course, I loaded up on Giants last night and lost.
Everybody wants to blame Daniel Jones. That's what everybody wants to do because he threw that ball up and it was intercepted. It was a bit. He shouldn't have thrown the ball down the middle of the field. I obviously believe that he made a mistake, but how could you, when you see the offensive line, and we'll get in, I'm telling you, we will get into football. When you see that offensive line, just give him no time to make any plays or see the field the way he could see the field or how he's seen the field the last 3 weeks. You obviously will see a lot of mistakes from Daniel Jones because he's going to put himself in a bad position. But they don't have any guys that can find the seams. They don't, besides Neighbors, there's nobody. And now Slayton there, he has these big plays once or twice a game, but that's not enough. They need a guy that's consistent. That's why I was sitting at the bar and I was telling everybody Higgins would be the perfect fit for the New York Giants on the other side, especially watching him catch the ball last night. I mean, he's going to be available. He's definitely going to be available. I would like to see, I'm not a Giant fan, but I'd like to see the Giants give Daniel Jones another weapon, which they don't have. So.
Yeah, Slayton's not that guy. He proved it last night. He got shut down by Cam Taylor-Britt. So I would say, just go back to the Knicks. Donte wasn't going to get the minutes this year. We all know that. He's a good player. He doesn't want to be that guy that's going to depress his value. He's going to a place that's going to make him the most money. He's going to get over it. I'm going to get over it. I loved watching him. That big play last year against in the playoffs where he hit the three to win it a couple of times. He had some key big baskets, some good defensive series. The Knicks just had to level up, though. Look, you got to go with Towns. You got to go with Bridges every time over just keeping the Donte, Julius Randle unit together. It's just not even close to as good. What are you guys talking about? I'm sorry. It's just a business. It's a better team with those guys. We love you, Donte. Maybe you find your way coming back to us one day.
I don't know if that's going to happen after yesterday. I don't see Tom Thibodeau or the Knicks making a move at any point going into the trade deadline, where if Minnesota decides they want to part ways with him, that he or the Knicks will agree to that trade. And again, it's not what he thinks, but is Leon Rose, after seeing what he saw last night, going to make a trade for Donte DiVincenzo? I can't see it. I think after that, I think he weighed out his welcome as far as the New York Knicks are concerned. So unfortunately that it happens. That's sports. And Donte DiVincenzo still has a chance to win a title. He's in Minnesota. He's playing with Anthony Edwards. That team is loaded still. Even without Karl Anthony Towns, that's a very good team. And they could absolutely win a title with that team. It's just, it's different when you had your buddies over here in New York. I understand he's upset. I understand he believes he was tossed to the side. But look at Julius Randle. He helped build that team. He helped, rebuild that team into a contending team. And look at him. He gets traded too. And he was the guy that, was traded. I mean, brought in free agency and then signed that extension, a couple of years ago. And he gets tossed to the side because he didn't want to sign that other extension. He wanted more money. So he wanted to be he wanted it to be comparable to what OG Anunoby got. And the Knicks just thought, hey, you're closer to the 30 age. And we're not paying you that kind of money. So it happens. Unfortunately, it happened to a good guy. And Donte DiVincenzo will be missed. And he's a fun player to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing him again when he plays Minnesota again. I think it's in sometime in November or December. So it's before the new year where we'll see him play at Madison Square Garden again. Unfortunately, it's not going to be for the Knicks. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to former Brewers pitching prospect, our friend Braden Webb. And now he's pitching in Mexico. We know a lot of we know a lot of players playing in the Mexican League, but we're very happy to have him on here on the Sports Loudmouth. 631-672 3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy. Petey, go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. That's my boy, Ernie. He's a big, well-known producer right now. He's all over Spotify. You can check it out, Speedy. You can post it up on our feed for anybody to go check out all the great music that he is producing right now throughout the world. Thank you to Ernie. We will be playing a lot of his music throughout the show, so everybody can check it out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I know he's been waiting patiently. This is a guy that we respect. We've had him on the show quite a few times, and I know he knows his baseball. He's in Mexico right now. We're now talking to former Brewers pitching prospect, Braden Webb. Braden, what's up, buddy?
What's up, dudes? How we doing?
Well,
Wow.
Not very good because I'm watching the Jets and watching the Yankees on the same night. It's not something that I'm very intrigued when it comes to both my teams. One, because the Jets are starting with an interim coach and they're in MetLife and they're playing the Buffalo Bills. They have a chance to take first place. If they lose, they could be down they'll be 2-4, and they could be looking outside of the playoffs. They're in a bad position right now. They have to win. This is a must win. And Buffalo right now has lost 2 games in a row too. I don't remember the last time Buffalo lost 3 games in a row. So this is a big night for the New York Jets to really prove their worth as an organization. If they can knock off the Buffalo Bills in MetLife, which they should because it's a home game, the Jets are in first place in the AFC East. So that's something exciting. And then Yankees, ALCS, they haven't been in the World Series in quite a long time. This could be a good way to move forward there. And I don't want to see a Subway Series, but it's good for New York. So how are you, my friend?
I'm great, and I hope. Well, if I know anything, it's to never bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
The Yankees, on the other hand, you can bet against them. No offense, but
Well, I bet against Aaron Rodgers because this isn't the same Aaron Rodgers. Now we don't
it's
know.
still Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, I know. I want to believe that. I know no more Bambi. Okay, I don't know if you know who Bambi is. We call Robert Saleh Bambi. We're the only. By the way, if anybody uses that nickname, they're stealing it from me. Okay, because I'm the one who gave him that nickname, and he's a deer in the headlights. Thank God Bambi is gone. He's no longer a part of that organization, and now they have a new interim head coach. He was there in Ulbrich. I'll have to figure out a nickname.
Killing me.
Don't trust me. You haven't seen enough of our graphics. We're a completely different show since the last time you've been on. We have Aaron Fishman as our executive producer. He's been building our graphic page for the last, I would say, 6 months. So.
Yeah, Braden, you were actually the first guest on Fish's first show.
Yeah.
What's up?
So, by the way, as Keith is saying, stop, I'm a KC fan. There's no way I'm a KC fan, and neither is Fish. I can't stand the Kansas City Chiefs. I know you're kidding around, but nevertheless, let's get into some baseball because obviously you watch a lot, you play in the Mexican League. There's a guy that was in the Mexican League, still is in the Mexican League right now, and he's a pitcher. Are you kind of getting my drift here? He was a Cy Young winner. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Trevor Bauer.
That's right. Trevor Bauer, who I think should be in the major leagues. I don't understand why he is not in the major leagues. I understand the things that he did on and off the field, but even in court, he wasn't proven guilty of anything that he did. So he should be in the majors, but because he's not a likable person on the stupid, crazy things that he did on the Reds and on Cleveland, I understand he's got a weird personality, but you have to like that about him. You like that.
I 100% I agree with you. I think that he should be in the big leagues. I still think that there's several players in the Mexican League that should be in the big leagues that aren't in the big leagues, and it's because of I think playing baseball in the United States is very political to an extent. I'm not saying that I would never go back to it, obviously, because of that. Everybody wants to be in the big leagues. Everybody wants to play there. So it's always the dream. But like you said, Trevor was acquitted of all the accusations and things, and never once lost any of those hearings. But the guy went from winning a Cy Young award to not playing in the United States anymore. And if you're gonna sit here and tell me that on all 30 teams there's 5 starters that are better than him or have better stuff than him, then you're not telling the truth.
No,
I
even
mean,
the team.
look at what he did in Japan last year, where Shohei Ohtani came from. He went over into that league and dominated it, won the Cy Young there, the Japanese Cy Young or whatever. Then comes to Mexico, does what he does in Mexico, which, by the way, I'm super salty about that whole situation because I should have had more wins than him in that league, and we'll let it go across that. But anyways, he just is. He's that good. I mean, you can put. He's been in any league, and he's been in almost every league now. Oh, what do you want him to do? Go play indie ball? Like, I mean,
Venezuela, or go to
Yeah.
the Dominican Republic in the summer, in the summertime.
I don't
and play in the
know if he would play winter ball, but I could see if he did.
I mean, winter balls.
If he did end up going to play winter ball, then I could see him going to the Dominican Republic just to show everybody that he's still better than 90% of the starting rotations in the MLB right now. Yeah, in baseball. It's just it's something else has to be going on, and because I know he was very outward and very vocal about the whole Rob Manfred situation, which
So am I,
everybody.
by the way. So am I.
Yes, because I remember us getting into it, like talking about it last time.
Oh, I still attack
You
it.
can't go for, and another thing about Trevor is that he came out and was like, yeah, I know that I've said all these things, but I apologize, And he tried to be the bigger person on the whole situation. He said, I'll sign for the league minimum. So why hasn't any team said, here you go?
Yep. And the other guys that have been brought in before them who had issues
Yeah.
similarly, Aroldis Chapman, or Domingo Germán, they're signed no problem for what they did,
Yeah.
and he's not.
I don't. I'll keep those thoughts to myself. Never mind.
Well, I'm not, because both guys have done vicious things and they've gotten away with it. And that's the thing with baseball. That's the thing with baseball, because Rob Manfred, look at the Ohtani thing. You think Ohtani didn't know what was going on when it came to
I
his
don't
money?
know how you. It wasn't something like 15 million or something like that out of his
More
account.
than that. It was 19 million.
That
And
we
some
know
people,
of, yeah.
some people say it was more than that. You're going to tell me that Ohtani knew nothing about 19 million.
I'm sorry. I don't care how much money I have. If $19 million goes missing from my account, you're gonna see me raising hell about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I made $700 million. I'm gonna be like, what's going on?
$700 million in deferred money.
In deferred money, yeah.
We know Rizzo got a base hit, and he's back in this lineup. Hopefully, he gets a little hot because he has done nothing all season long. But
How's your boy Aaron Judge doing?
Struck out. He struck out his first time up, so it doesn't look good. It doesn't bode well for him.
Was it mostly down and away sliders, or?
I didn't see how the pitches that it was thrown to him.
I'd be willing to bet that at least 2 of the however many pitches he saw were down and away sliders, and he swung and missed at them.
No, I'm sure it was, and hopefully he figures things out, because he hasn't yet.
Okay, you want to talk baseball?
Yeah, let's talk baseball.
This is a take that I'll ride with to the grave. We had this argument on my team in Mexico with all the American guys. They think that Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree, and that might be a hot take, but I would take Shohei Ohtani over him any day, because look at how the lineups are set up for New York and then the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Who does Judge have hitting behind him?
Giancarlo Stanton, right? Or Soto? Is it Soto right now?
It varies, but it's been Soto, I think, most of the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only guy that you really have to avoid in that lineup, especially when it comes down to a playoff setting, is Aaron Judge. You could literally put him on first base every time he came up, and the Yankees wouldn't have any production behind that unless Soto hits a home run. Whereas
Listen, I agree with,
whereas Shohei
oh,
gets on base, he swipes way more bags than Aaron Judge. The guy's just a bigger threat as a whole.
he's not an everyday player, and that's why I disagree with you. And what Aaron
But
Judge does,
you can't say
playing
he's not an
center
everyday
field.
player because Shohei had Tommy John surgery.
But he's not an everyday player until he
Okay,
proves that
but
he's an everyday player.
okay,
And he's not an everyday player even on the mound.
okay. Well, he's the best hitter and the best, arguably
I
one of the
disagree. I don't think he's the
top
best.
10 pitchers in the. He's okay on both sides of the ball. In every category, he's probably top 5 as a hitter. Every category, he's top 5 as a pitcher. Where is Aaron Judge in these?
Well, hold on one second. Aaron Judge led the league in WAR this year.
Yeah.
He led
Yeah.
the league in WAR this year. So
I get it. He
and
also
was playing
he
center
hit
field.
50 some
He
home
wasn't even
runs.
playing his
I get
position.
it.
Brady,
No,
he wasn't
I
even
got
playing
you.
his position.
I'm
argument is
not
different.
disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing that Aaron Judge is great, but he doesn't do it on both sides of the ball. Shohei
I
Ohtani
disagree.
does.
I disagree. And
Oh,
Shohei Ohtani,
Aaron Judge gets on the mound and pitches?
no, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He's playing in the outfield. He's a
Speedy.
great defensive player. And again,
Speedy.
listen.
Great defensive player? Whoa.
He is a great defensive player. Yeah, he is a great. How does a guy go and play center field this year and take over? And how many mistakes did he make? How
Okay,
many errors did he have?
would you say he's a top 15 defender in the outfield in the league?
100%. This year he was.
Ooh.
This year he was. 100%. 100% this year he was.
You think so?
100%.
I would love to see the numbers on it because I can't get behind that.
Fish, go look up the numbers. I guarantee you it was. I guarantee you it was. I don't even know the numbers.
Fish, pull up the numbers defensively.
Yeah, he's looking. He's going to pull up the numbers. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I can guarantee you he was. And as far as Ohtani is concerned,
if he is, then I'll agree.
Ohtani shouldn't even be in the major leagues right now. He should have been suspended. He should not be playing.
Obviously.
He should not be playing.
I agree. If you're going to do what you did to Pete Rose, then you got to do the same shit to Shohei Ohtani. But they're both Hall of Famers at the end of the day.
There's no question. And they're both going to go to the Hall of Fame. They both are. I mean, Aaron Judge is going to be the quickest person to 500 home runs. There's no question that he's on his way to doing that. And Shohei Ohtani, for a guy his size and his bat, he can steal bases. But again, the bases are bigger now. I think they brought the bases a little closer. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's still 60 feet 6 inches. The bases.
But again, it's
bigger.
closer because the bases.
I agree with the whole bases thing too. I mean, look at Acuna.
Look at pizza boxes.
Look at Acuna doing what he did last year. He wouldn't have done that if the bases were smaller.
Mm-hmm. De La Cruz this year, so it was the same thing.
See now. Here's a take.
Oh,
De La Cruz, I think would do it. That guy is just a gazelle. You can be looking at him in a pickoff, like in the set motion, turn and look at him. What happened in the game? You're disgusted.
No. I'm watching the Jet game, and Breece Hall, an easy pass. Aaron, that would have been a first down. He drops the ball. Look at this, right in his hands. He should have caught that. It would have been a first down, and they took the ball right down the field. This is a completely different offense right now. You could see it. But Breece Hall can't catch a ball, and why is he on the field? Who knows? He has had a horrible season this year. So the Jets are going to win.
Fish in the comments.
What is it?
Stats weren't great for Judge defensively.
What was his numbers? Do you have it?
-5.5 defense this year. Well, had 0 errors.
WAR, I guess he's assuming, or defensive run save. Fish, I'm assuming you mean defensive WAR for that -5.5 stat.
I don't know what that means.
So
that means he's not a good defender, is what that means.
Okay. All right. So I was wrong, but it's still nevertheless.
But hitting wise, he is top 3 in baseball. Through and through.
And by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off because I'm tired of listening to Keith. He cheated. Okay, he cheated. You're saying Pete Rose shouldn't be in the. Hold on, Keith. He's saying Pete Rose should not be in the Hall of Fame because of all the things that he did. Ohtani did the same thing. He cheated. He should not even be playing in the major league. Keith, you're wrong. Stop kissing his ass. You want to get down on your hands and knees and lick it? I'll pull his pants down for you. Stop with this crap. He cheated. And that's all I'm going to say. Sorry.
Wait, who cheated?
Ohtani. He's the one who bet on
Oh,
baseball.
the betting stuff. I agree
That's
with.
cheating. That's cheating.
However, Pete Rose should still be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. No question. He says that he shouldn't. He says he
That
should.
guy's whoever said that's an idiot. I can't see the comments on anything. That
Well,
guy's
you don't
an
have
idiot.
to. You don't want to. You don't want to see the idiocy of this.
I don't
guy.
want to see
I
that
love him.
at all.
He's an idiot.
And you know what's gonna make it 10 times worse? Now would be the time that they would put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame because he's dead.
I know, and that's what's going to happen.
They're going to do it out of pity.
100%, and I think it's bullshit. I think he should turn over in his grave and say, "I don't want in."
I think same thing with Terrell Owens. The way the NFL treated him, Terrell Owens was thinking about. And by the way, he didn't go to his inductee. His induction.
Stakes from outer space. Orioles are better than KC. Checks notes. KC swept the Orioles 2-0.
I don't know what
is that considered a sweep though, because it was only 2 games.
All right. The context of that is Keith's one of our callers. Errol and him had an argument of which is a better matchup for the Yankees in the second round. That's how that started.
And here's the thing. I did not want to play the Kansas City Royals because the Kansas City Royals are very fundamentally sound.
Very. And they have one of the best hitters in baseball as well, and Bobby Witt Jr.
And Bobby Witt couldn't figure it out. And by the way, shout out to Giancarlo Stanton, because after the game, after they got eliminated, Giancarlo Stanton went to Bobby Witt and hugged him and told him, "You're going to be here, kid. You're going to get another opportunity." And that says a lot about Giancarlo Stanton.
I agree. I mean, I've always heard good things about Giancarlo Stanton, and for him to do that in that situation is super awesome. I mean, you have a young up and coming rising star who arguably should be in MVP talks this year.
No question. And Pete, by the way, Keith, you did not say. Now, after my argument, you said Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. After the fact, when you were trying to argue that he shouldn't be. Ohtani should not be in baseball. He should have been suspended for the season, and it should have been deeply investigated on what was really going on, because there was a lot more in depth. Everything was brushed under the rug after his interpreter took the responsibility, and he's going to go to jail because of it. Okay, it is pathetic. Okay, it really is. And the fact that everybody believes that Ohtani is still one of the best players in the league, he shouldn't even have had a season this year. He should have been sitting out, just like what they've done to different players. This guy cheated. That's what I look. When you're betting on baseball and you think that's cheat, and you think that's some kind of form of cheating because you're taking and you're betting on something that you shouldn't be betting on, you should not be playing in the major leagues, just like they did to Pete Rose. And by the way, Pete Rose was retired. He was the manager, and he was betting against the other team.
He was doing it as a player manager.
Yeah.
He was still playing in the game, but also manager.
But he was betting against the other team.
That's a little bit, but that's a little bit more because he had more of an effect on the outcome of all situations. Whereas Shohei could literally just be like, "All right, I'm gonna hit 2 bombs today. I'm gonna bet on that."
It doesn't matter. In my point of view,
no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I just think what Pete did was quite possibly a little bit worse, but also at the same time could be better because he was never like, "I didn't do this shit." He was like, "Yeah, I did it."
And I give him a lot of respect.
What do you want me to do about it?
And I give a lot of respect for Bauer, because Bauer doesn't have to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," which he did apologize, but he pretty much told you, "Listen, I didn't do those things. I didn't do it intentionally to try to hurt any woman. Those women were telling me to do those things." That was something that he said. And again, a lot of the things that those women said were not
back
even
on the Bauer
true.
thing. Sorry, I was reading Fish's comment. We're back on the Bauer thing.
Yeah, I kind of.
Well, my thing too is because with the whole Bauer thing, and how are you gonna sit there in his bed while he's sleeping and take videos after the fact, and have them in your phone, and then be like, "Oh, he beat me, he did this, blah blah blah," and then there's physical proof that he never did any of that on your phone. What kind of dumb broad chasing money is gonna do something like that?
Well, a lot of broads, because
but it's like at that point you got to be if you're gonna I think about shit in a maniacal way.
Mhm.
If you're gonna go after somebody for their stuff in that manner, don't have any physical evidence against you.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. And the thing is I don't know if you go on Instagram, but all these Instagram girls that are making so much money for their posts and stuff like that, now they're digging deep into the posts for some of these athletes, and this is how these athletes get caught up. Every single one of them. Go look at what's going on right now. They're all getting caught up with these Instagram models. They're getting pregnant, and then they got to deal with baby's mama situations, and they got to pay these women $30,000-$40,000 a month because they had their babies, and that's because they're bringing in so much money. It's horrible, and that's why if I was an athlete, which I was, but if I was a professional athlete, I would absolutely put myself in a better position, knowing or not go and get drunk, not going out and about when I'm in the middle of the season or even at the end of the season. Make sure that if I'm making that kind of money, that I'm either setting myself up straight with a woman or not doing it at all. I'm not getting caught up in this situation. Derek Jeter did it right. I'll give Derek Jeter a lot of credit, because even though he was sleeping around, doing whatever, he had them sign something before he
That
started.
NDA and that phone stays at the front door,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, he was smart. He did all the smart things.
Yeah.
And then after he retired, he settled down and started having kids. He was very smart. I have to give him a lot of credit. There's a lot of,
without a doubt.
even Alex Rodriguez, if you look at, the situation, he has 2 daughters. That's all he has. He has no other kid with any other woman. So he was very smart too, when knowing that he was making a lot of money. He was signing contract after contract after contract. He didn't set himself back where he had baby's mom problems. And every woman that he was dating after the fact were all movie stars and musicians that were making big bucks anyway. So his money and her money are the same. So he actually put himself in a position where he wasn't dealing with what some of these basketball players are dealing with right now, with the Instagram and the investigations that they're having, beating them up because they're saying they're putting their hands on them because of the money situation. And again, the Jets are screwing up again. So watching this team makes me sick to my stomach.
What's up, Speedy? What you got, man? You haven't said but 2 fucking words this whole time.
This is the Errol multitasking with 2 different teams. I want to go back to Aaron Judge, and there was other comments that were made about him not being able to have that same level of season in the steroid era, like back in the day. Oh, it's not as good as some of the steroid era guys this kind of season.
I think Soto hit a home run, by the way.
And like even his year where he had the record-setting year. What are your thoughts of that?
Can you repeat that last part one more time? You kind of cut out for me.
During the summer that were saying, like, when Aaron Judge was on pace for having this like triple crown year and possibly could have broken the home record before he went cold at the end of the season, like saying, oh, it's not as impressive because it's not in the steroid era compared to those guys, stuff like that.
What do I think about that?
Yeah, those types of comments.
I don't think it's I agree. I don't think it is as impressive. One, you gotta think Yankee Stadium is short porch to right field. Majority of his home runs at home were hit to right field. Tiny porch, 1. 2, the guy is 6'8", 270 pounds. I mean, he's a freak. Don't get me wrong. Those guys weren't built like that back in the day, so yeah, they stuck a few needles in their asses. But look at Barry Bonds. Whenever he went from 6'1" to like 6'4". He still has never failed a drug test for steroids, so it's allegedly. But the year he hit 73, Mark McGwire hit 71. I mean, look at all those guys that did end up. They were doing it with less, I think. I mean, less in the manner of the balls weren't juiced, bats weren't as well as aerodynamic. All they had was,
That was one of our other guests, Ryan Spader, was a controversial baseball journalist. He was having the theory 2 years ago that they were doing different baseballs for the Yankees when he was doing that home run record.
Well, they were. So they were. What year did Glasnow have Tommy John surgery? Was that 2 or 3 years ago?
I think it was 3. Or it might have been.
So that was at the time where they were experimenting with the balls, making them more juiced, all that stuff. And they kept changing them, took away the sticky stuff from pitchers, all that.
Yeah.
Those balls were really juiced because, I mean, look at the 2 years before that and the year before that, the amount of because they start experimenting with the stuff in AAA or AA. Like they send it down to the minor league so that they could try it out first before they do it in the big leagues. They juiced the balls in AAA, and the home run record for the whole season by all AAA people got broke by like 1,000 or 2,000 home runs. Like it was stupid. So I firmly believe that those guys back then, that they're not seeing as good of stuff, I would say, and guys aren't throwing 95 plus back then all the time. So I would argue to say that those guys would have an easier time hitting more home runs now than they did back then.
90 home run season for Barry Bonds.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to look at the whole Barry Bonds situation too. That guy, whenever he was doing what he was doing, got one pitch a game, one pitch to do what he did, and he did not miss. I also don't see Aaron Judge getting intentionally walked with the bases loaded. But that's no offense, Errol.
Hey, by the way, we are talking to former Brewers pitching prospect Braden Webb. He's been on our show before, and I will say this.
I love this fish. That's sick. The polio.
I understand that you're not a big Aaron
2021.
Judge fan. You're not an
No.
Aaron Judge
I don't
You're
want you to
not.
get this wrong.
You're not.
I don't want to get
You're
you. I just don't like overhype. You know
We're
what I
not
mean?
how are you overhyping a guy that hit 325, hit 40,
No, that's
58 home
crazy.
runs, his his on base percentage was ridiculous. I mean, the guy was
I just
unbelievable.
don't like. I don't like the comparisons to Barry Bonds.
No, nobody's. First of all,
No.
I never,
At the beginning of the season, and when he was
never
doing
did.
what he was doing,
Never
I'm
did.
not saying you did. I'm saying
Screw everybody else.
every
Screw them.
baseball analyst.
They don't know what the hell they're talking about, anyways. Braden,
No, I agree.
I think half those guys on ESPN and on the MLB Network, this is what they do. They get paid. All right, they get paid big bucks.
I think the only
and what do
person
they
that I
do?
follow out of that situation or the whole baseball stuff is Jeff Passan, because that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, well, guess what? You don't listen enough of us if you think he's hilarious.
I do listen to you guys. I'm just talking about in the scheme of ESPN and all that shit.
In the scheme of things, Here's my scheme. The Jets suck. Okay, this is my scheme.
Yeah.
They friggin' suck. I'm watching this football team absolutely blow, absolutely goat ass. Okay, they stink. All right. As everybody would say it, they stink. They can't stop a nosebleed.
Well, it's not deer ass anymore because there's no more Bambi.
I rest my case. They have too many guys dropping the ball. They can't catch an easy pass, and then they let Josh Allen just take the ball down the field. It was like easy. It was so simple, and they can't stop a run.
He's honestly looked really shitty this year.
Who?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, he's up and down in certain games. He hasn't looked as good as he has over the years. Maybe because of the weapons. He lost Diggs. He lost Gabe Davis. He lost all his weapons. He doesn't have the wide.
He threw the ball to Gabe Davis 4 times, and 3 of those 4 were in the end zone.
No, I understand. I think Todd Downing is a better choice as far as I'm concerned as an offensive coordinator. You could see it. This offense is moving the ball down the field. What scares me right now is no matter how quick they get down the field, they can't get it in the end zone. So because nobody can catch the ball, they drop more balls than they catch. So and everybody.
Well, I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers whenever he was on the Packers too.
Mm-hmm.
His incompletion thing was like skyrocketed one year, and if you go back and you watch like the balls that he threw that were incomplete, he hit several receivers just directly in the chest, and they wouldn't catch it.
Yeah,
here we go. Look at this guy. Just fucking.
He's good, man. He's good. He's good at what he does. But
number 117 is good, and I thought the Jets were gonna go for him. I was hoping that they would have went for him.
I just think when I watch this team, it just makes me want to hurl. Okay, I want to throw up.
I like the Jets, though. I believe it or not, I actually have Jets like football, like one of their whatever they call that thing, like their spring training. No,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
the spring
yeah,
training
shirt.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I have
Okay.
one of their practice shirts from one of my
Do you want me to send you?
boys.
You want me
One
to
of my
send you a
boys
jersey?
that was at South Carolina. Yeah, hell yeah. One of
I'll
my
send
boys
you a
that was.
jersey. I'll send you a Jets jersey, all a custom from me. Okay, I'm going to send you. I'm going to get you a Jets jersey with Webb on the back of it. What number do you want?
Surprise, 69.
Oh, I have my name on the back of 69. I can give you that one.
I'll
I'll
take
send
it.
that to you. I'll give you my last name on the back of it.
Mark
69.
69. Let's go.
Mark
I like it.
69. All right, I'm going to send it to you. I'm actually going to send
Speedy
it to you.
Petey, who we got? Who's your team?
A large. Could you fit in a large?
Yeah, man, whatever.
All right. I'm gonna give it to you, but you got to wear it.
I promise you, I will take a
You got to post
picture
it. You
in
got to
it.
post it on.
I'll
on
wear it
social
into
media.
I'll wear it into the stadium just for you.
All right, I'm going to tell you what. I'm sending it to you tonight or tomorrow. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll absolutely send it to you. 100%.
Yeah, give
And
my you don't have my number, do you?
No, Speedy will get your
I'll
number.
give it.
Okay.
Speedy
Wait,
will have.
Speedy, who's your football team? Are you a Jets guy too?
He's a
Giants fan,
fan.
unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
That's an
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Are you a Mets or a Yankees fan?
I'm a
'Cause I
Mets
see the City
fan.
Field. You're a Mets fan?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I actually played in City Field this last winter for Los Aguilas, the Dominican winter ball team.
Mhm.
Bro, it was the first day it was like 37 degrees, the second day it was 35, and then I pitched on Sunday and it was 32 degrees.
Hold on one second. Let me see if I can
in
find it.
City
Hold
Field.
on. I'm going to show you.
Yes, I can't wait for this. Bro, that guy is fucking yoked, huh? Oh, you guys are in the same room.
Yep. Yeah, welcome to the green screen technology.
I love that. Look at
He's
Fish.
trying to find it.
Fish
Yeah,
loves
looks like
these things, huh?
Looks like he's
He
got
did
it.
good work. It's green though. Oh, it's white.
It's actually my
What?
DJ name, but I'm going to give it to you. Look at that.
I'm so in.
all
DJ
yours.
Rolo. Oh my god, that thing is beautiful.
It's beautiful. There you go. It's all yours.
DJ Rolo, I got you. I'll wear it into the stadium.
This is yours, man. I'm going to send this to you.
Hell yeah.
It's the new jersey, the new Jets jersey.
I think you know what? I'll jersey swap with you. I'll send you wait, he can't hear me.
I
I'll
hear you.
jersey Oh, okay. I'll jersey swap with you. You send me that jersey, I'll send you one from Laguna.
All
'Cause
right.
I have
wear
a
it.
bunch.
I'll
Yeah.
wear it.
But
And
it
I'll
says
send
Webb and then 15 on the back. It don't say no DJ Rolo.
that's for you. I'm going to send it out to you. Speedy will get your address, and we'll talk. But we have another guest. Actually, you know what? We're going to keep you on. Okay. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we will have Braden Webb and our new guest. And he is a former Pirates, Rockies, Cardinals catcher, Michael McHenry. He's a friend of the show. We love him. He's funny. I know he's been patiently waiting. We want to apologize to him. But when we come back, Braden Webb and Michael McHenry.